Hello graphic novel literature students, and welcome to the video for quarter 4, week 3, day 1. This video is for those students who are absent, but those students who are in class may also find this video useful. As a reminder, everything you say, do, or type is recorded, so please remember to keep it school appropriate. And as always, there is no saving, downloading, or taking pictures of our class ever. Our agenda for today is you're going to use the work from last week, the Red Hood and the Outlaws questions and the Black Widow questions, to write a comparison essay. This comparison essay is due before midnight on Wednesday, and you should be able to complete this assignment during class. To get yourself set up, please open the work from last week, the Red Hood and the Outlaws reading questions, the Black Widow reading questions, and the comparison essay assignment in 3 separate tabs or 3 separate windows. Okay, so when you take a look at the essay, it's very similar to what I gave you last quarter as that last analysis essay, kind of like fill in the blank, right? I've provided sentence starters in the beginnings of many of the stuff, and then in brackets, I instruct you what you're supposed to fill in. So if we look at the directions together, it says compare and contrast Scott Lobdell's Red Hood and the Outlaws and Ralph Macchio's Black Widow's Sting. Use the fill-in-the-blank sentences below to get you started, and then recycle as much of your answers from the reading questions as possible to complete your essay. If you take a look very quickly at the introduction paragraph, it requires a lot of summary. Right? You need a 5 to 8 sentence summary of what happens in Red Hood and the Outlaws. You need a 5 to 8 sentence summary of what happens in Black Widow. The important part to keep in mind is that you want to write those summaries assuming that the person who's reading this essay has never read the comic before and does not have the comic in front of them to read for themselves. So you're going to have to describe like what people look like, what actions they're performing in certain panels, etc. If you follow those directions that are in blue, that'll ensure that everybody is able to understand the analysis portion of your essay, right? The second and third paragraphs of your essay once you get there, right? The introduction paragraph is about giving all the basic background information right up front. Please also note that I've given you the author's names in the directions, but also in the introduction paragraph, right? So, where'd it go? I'm sorry. Scott Lobdell's Red Hood and the Outlaws and Ralph Macchio's Black Widow are 2 comics coming from different comic book companies, right? DC and Marvel, respectively. And yet they have a few things in common, right? Red Hood and the Outlaws is about, fill that in. Ralph Macchio's Black Widow, Widow's Sting is about, fill that in. When you get to your body paragraphs and you are going to end up using quotes from the comic book, either one of them, you need to make sure that you cite those quotes, right? The citations should always be the author's last name and then a page number. And you can use the PDF page numbers. So for example, I wrote this sentence here, as Red Hood tases Batman, he says, quote, in a fair fight, probably not, but cheating, I've got that down, right? Lobdell 13, right? Author's last name, not the full name, just the last name. And then it was PDF page number 13. So you want to make sure that you're doing that as well. And you could always come back to this video or this slide and use this as an example to refer to. When you get to your actual body paragraphs, right here, the first body paragraph, one thing these 2 comics have in common is, and it says, look over your reading questions, looking for a strong connection between the 2 comics and add a simple statement, right? So you may find out when you look at these that one thing that they have in common are their archetypes, right? Maybe they fit into the same archetype categories, right? That would be question number 5. So go to look at the question number 5 for each of those. Maybe you notice that the 2 of them used very similar transitions, right? That would be question number 3. Look at those questions, look at your answers, etc. Right? It'll be up to you to kind of determine what similarity or what difference you want to write about, right? The first body paragraph is for similarity. The second body paragraph is for differences. And I've already written in your transition sentence here, right? The beginning of it. While these comics may have their similarities, they also have many differences. One major difference is, and then add that in, right? One major difference is their transitions, or one major difference is they're completely different archetypes. One major difference is they, Red Hood explore, this issue of Red Hood explores this part of the hero's journey, but Black Widow's issue explores a different part of the hero's journey, right? Whatever it is that you found in your answers. Once you're finished with that, you get to your conclusion paragraph. Right? It says, conclude your essay with your own personal critique of the two comics. Basically, you would do that by answering these questions. What did you like? What did you dislike? And what was done well, or what could have been done better? Okay. And in this way, you kind of wrap things up, right? You've acknowledged that they have similarities, they have differences, and then you get to kind of chime in and say which one you enjoyed more or which one you enjoyed less and why. Uh, Again, if you have questions, please refer to this video, or you can send me an individual email and I'll write back to you as quickly as I can. The sub will leave this image on the screen while students work to make things a little bit easier. If I can move this out of the way, sorry. To make things easier, right, it has all those notes that I just went over, just all in one spot. And if you wanted to, you ask the sub to freeze this slide on your Zoom screen while you work, or you can just pause the video here and leave this on your screen while you work as well. And that's it. Please make sure that you finish that comparison essay. It's due before midnight on Wednesday, May 7th. Academic check-in on Wednesday is from 12:55 to 1:15, and student support is always before school from 7:45 to 8:45. Thank you very much for watching, and I look forward to reading over your essays.